Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. Now, in addition to the EU labeling case, it seems Israel has just lost another battle in the international arena. In a sweeping vote of 170 to 2, the United Nations has voted to extend the mandate for UNRWA, the controversial Palestinian aid organization. Only Israel and the United States voted against the 3-year renewal set to expire now in 2023. Now, UNRWA, or the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, was established on behalf of the 700,000 or so Palestinians who were either expelled from or fled their lands during the 1948 War of Independence. And today, it oversees the facilitation of various humanitarian services to the over 5 million registered Palestinian refugees across Gaza, Judea and Samaria, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. But Israel and the United States accuse UNRWA of perpetuating the very conflict it was formed to help end. For one, under UNRWA's definitions, refugee status is afforded to Palestinians across generations, which is why the number of refugees has exploded exponentially, and that makes for an untenable resettlement situation. Meanwhile, all other refugees on Earth under the auspices of the UNHCR must be first-generation displaced. Then there's also the many allegations against UNRWA of impropriety, corruption, and more, which stretch across years. UNRWA's Commissioner General Pierre Cranbuel even just resigned before the vote over alleged misconduct. And UNRWA has in the past employed Hamas terror group members while housing weapons in its schools and offices, and it still today publishes anti-Israel hate in its educational materials. But regardless, UNRWA appears here to stay. And as an added insult to injury, renewing UNRWA was just one of 8 resolutions concerning Israel that the UN adopted over the weekend. Among the others was a condemnation of Israel for control over the Golan and an approval for a special committee designed to investigate alleged Israeli practices affecting the human rights of the Palestinians and other Arabs in the region. UN Watch condemned the whole day as biased and surreal. Blue and White, or Kahol Lavan party chief Benny Gantz, has just 48 hours in his mandate to form an Israeli government, but he's using every minute in hopes of leading the country in the future and preventing a third election. And negotiators from Kahol Lavan are reporting real progress in coalition talks with the various parties, particularly with Avigdor Lieberman's Israel Beitenu party, which holds key seats in the Knesset. The two discussed issues of religion and state, among other concerns, indicating the possibility of progressing with the right-wing or religious parties too. But still, sources within the Kahol Lavan faction say that the chances of success are slim to none, as getting Lieberman to sign on to a minority government with the Arab list is unlikely, while getting Prime Minister Netanyahu to agree to a centrist unity is even less so. Both Netanyahu and Lieberman even castigated the very idea of sitting with the Arab parties as disastrous for the state, with Netanyahu alleging on Sunday at a rally that the joint list seeks to destroy the country from within. In fact, he asked the crowds to simply imagine a situation in which the Arab parties could kill a military operation like the recent retaliations on Gaza by threatening to leave the coalition and doom the government. President Rivlin, in the meantime, however, is blaming everyone, saying he believes a government can still be formed, but only if leaders put away their personal disagreements. It's been 55 years since Israeli organic chemist Professor Raphael Meshulam first isolated the THC molecule, famous for the high that cannabis users describe. And ever since that first discovery, a number of other important firsts were sure to follow. But for the first time in Israel's history, the state is now officially addressing the cannabis sector as a field it wants to develop. The Economy Ministry has just released the White Paper on Israel's medical cannabis innovations, a comprehensive look at the opportunities and benefits of investing in Israel's unique cannabis ecosystem. And it details key players, leading new companies, government regulations, and advances in research, all of which point to Israel as the most attractive place to place capital. Also, this comes just days after Israeli cannabis companies Together and Canatech signed a partnership worth nearly 193 million shekels. The only issue now is bringing the focus back to domestic cannabis issues, as medical patients under the newly reformed Health Ministry guidelines both pay more and have less access to their prescriptions. Thankfully for at least some patients, however, the court has ordered the Health Ministry to extend all pre-form licenses until March of 2020, while more patients petition the courts to overturn the new regulations altogether. All right, that's all for now. Follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and, of course, on Twitter at ILTV News. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.